I just want everyone to know that it's hot as balls, and I think I'm going to die today. So thanks for watching my channel. Big ass cup of iced coffee. I really should be drinking water, but you know what? I don't care right now. Greetings, salutations, YouTube. Eddie here. Welcome back to my channel. And today I am in a sauna. Siri, what's the temperature right now?
It's about 81 degrees outside.
It's gonna get up to 106 today. I don't know who done pissed off the devil, but you're rude. Anyway, so today I'm gonna be bringing you guys my mid-year reading wrap-up from January to June 30th. I'll be talking about all the books that I've read. And then in December, I'll do another version of it. I may do a part 2 or may just do one big ass video and be repetitive, because that's how I roll. Anyways, so far I've read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I've read 15 books, but in reality I read 13, and I read a lot of, or listened to a lot of short stories. So let's just begin from January all the way to June, and hopefully it'll be entertaining as it is for me to film. And yeah, so let's get right into it. January. So in January I read 4 books. My first book that I read in January was Marie Lu's Young Elite. This is a dystopian fantasy series, and I gave this one a 3. Did I give it a 3? Yeah, I gave it a 3 out of 5. I like the concept. I think the concept is really interesting, and I think the execution of that concept was well done, but I did not like any of the characters except for either Dante, Raphael, or Taryn. I can't remember which, but I know I did not like our leading character, Adelina. I did not like her whatsoever. I think her power was pretty cool, but as a narrator, I just found her kind of, in my opinion, not as engaging as if I were to compare as June from Legend. The book is really short, and I didn't start liking it until 3/4 of the way in. Again, the concept, the world, very interesting, and I'm really excited to see where the rest of the series goes. I'm a little disappointed that I didn't love this book. Next, I read Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. By the way, all of these books that I'll be talking about, the books that I have reviews of, will be down below in the description. And so, Lady Midnight is the first book of the Dark Artifices series, which takes place 5 years after the Mortal Instruments. And this takes place in Los Angeles, and I gave this one a 4.25 out of 5. Mainly because I didn't like Emma and Julian together, and also I saw the twist coming. And it is a big book, but that didn't really bother me with this one. I think one of the best aspects about this trilogy is the family dynamic within the Blackthorns of Julian, Mark, Arthur, Tavi, Drew, Livy, and Ty. And then we also have characters of Christina and Diana and Kieran. But for some reason, Emma and Julian together just bothers me, because I just didn't see the reason why they should be together. As separate characters, I love them, but together I feel nothing between them. And then the twist, I saw it coming from miles away. Not because I was spoiled, I was not spoiled, but it's just like, okay, saw that coming. But again, this is a really solid book in a really great trilogy. Trials of Apollo, this is book 1, The Hidden Oracle, in which we follow the god Apollo, who gets cast out of Mount Olympus by Zeus, because he done did piss off Zeus. And this one's a 5 out of 5. And I love this book. I love the writing. Apollo's voice, he's just a lovable dork. I love him. Although I feel for him because of the name Lester Papadopoulos. Nothing against people who are named Lester or have the last name of Papadopoulos, but it's just saddening that he went from this really amazing god to being immortal. But this book was so much fun to read. I highly recommend this series. I read the first 3. I highly recommend it. Right, then the last book that I read in January was actually my favorite book of the month, and that is Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare, second book of the Dark Artifices. And this one's a 5 out of 5. This, it's weird, because you guys know I just talked about how I didn't like Emma and Julian being together in Lady Midnight, and I also didn't like them together in Queen of Air and Darkness. But for some damn reason, I understood it in this one. I don't know why, I just did. And then Kit and Ty, oh my god, I love them. They need to be protected at all costs. And seeing like all the Mortal Instruments characters back again in this series just warms my little nostalgic heart. And I love the ending. This ending, it was like that scene in Man of Steel when Superman kills Zod and he's screaming and crying in a subway station. That was my reaction to this ending. It broke my heart, but it was such a well-written ending. Definition of cliffhanger. But and then side note, out of the 3 covers, this one's my least favorite. I just don't like how the city is like that, and I don't like Julian's like off to the side just randomly, but you know, it is what it is. But I love the blue font, and then underneath are like Shadowhunter runes, which is so cool actually, which I think is just so cool. So I had a pretty good reading month in January. Then February happened, and I got into a slump because I read only 1 book that put me in a slump for a little while. Queen of Air and Darkness, aka the most gigantic Shadowhunter novel on the face of the earth, by Cassandra Clare. And I have a 2-parter review of this one. I did one where I was kind of generous with my rating, and then the second part I was very critical. So this one's the last book, and I've never been so disappointed in a Cassandra Clare novel since City of Fallen Angels. I was so upset that I did not love this one as much. I think there are several reasons why I didn't like this one. Because 1, look at this monstrosity, it's gigantic. 2, again, Emma and Julian still don't get it in this one. A lot of stories were introduced but weren't really wrapped up. But I think that was intentional because this is setting up for The Wicked Powers, which is a series centering around Kit and Ty and Drew. Which is also the last Shadowhunter series. Yeah, and there was a lot of things that happened in here that just did not make sense to me. But there's a lot of things in here that I absolutely love. Like Kit and Ty. I won't shut up about it. But I gave this one a 3.75 out of 5. Then we get into March. So, in March, I'm going to try to explain this as best I can. So, I started Ghost of the Shadow Market in June of 2020, which is the year that we will never forget for bad reasons. I started this in June and I finished it in March. I listened to all the short stories, so let me just look at the short story. So, Cast Long Shadows, Every Exquisite Thing, Learn About Lost, A Deeper Love, The Wicked One, Son of the Dawn, The Land I Lost, Through Blood Through Fire, The Lost World, and Forever Fallen. Just a side note, before you read this, before you read the last 2 stories, The Lost World and Forever Fallen, read The Dark Artifices, or at least look up what happens in it, because you will get spoiled big time. And I gave this one a 5 out of 5 just as a default for all the stories put together. My favorite one will probably be The Wicked Ones, and then Learn About Lost. This one is actually about Jem Carstairs and his journey through the Shadow Market. It's really actually interesting to read, and emotional as hell. Then I continue with The Trials of Apollo, starting with Dark Prophecy, which is book 2. This is the lowest rating I have given a Rick Riordan novel. I did not like this one as much as I did with Hidden Oracle or The Burning Maze. I gave this one a 3.75 out of 5, which hurts because it's a solid book, but I was just not interested in the story by the end of it. This is my least favorite of the 3 that I've read. And then Burning Maze picked right back up. This was a 4 out of 5. I love this one so much. Not only does it have my favorite cover, it has a really, really engaging story. I'm really excited to get back into the world soon. I have to finish Wildcard by Marie Lu, then I'll jump right back into this one. Alright, then we get into April, which was a hard month for me. I only read 1 book. That was 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. And this was a 5 out of 5. And this is, you don't have to read Shadow and Bone to read, you don't have to read that trilogy to read this duology, or series, I guess. This is literally its own thing. It's set in a new country, centering around new characters. So I read 6 of Crows before Shadow and Bone came out. Shadow and Bone came out on April 23rd. I finished this April 8th or April 9th. And I love this book so much. The world is so amazing. The characters. Jesper. Sorry, kind of got real for a second. I love Jesper. I love Inej, Kaz, Nina, Matthias, Wylan. I love these characters so much. I highly recommend this. Even if you cannot get into Shadow and Bone, at least give 6 of Crows a try, because this is Leigh Bardugo's best work. Alright, and then we get into May, which is actually the month where I read the most within a couple months, because I was really disappointed because in April I only read 1 book. And I was really mad at myself, and then I really was happy that I got to read more books in May. And so I continued with Crooked Kingdom, which is the sequel to 6 of Crows, which is originally going to be the conclusion, but Leigh Bardugo decided to extend it, which, you know, I don't see why, because this ended perfectly. I love Crooked Kingdom. This is probably one of the best duologies I've read. This book was emotional, heartbreaking, depressing, but so adventurous. I love this book so much. I love this duology. I highly recommend it, like I said, with Six of Crows. And then I started a new series because I could. And I was told to read this. A lot of my friends love this book, and I've been seeing a lot of it. I've been seeing this book everywhere on Goodreads. And that is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. This is high school. This is like Breakfast Club meets murder mystery. And this one follows our characters of Bronwyn and Nate and Addie and Cooper. And they're all in detention. One of their classmates in detention, Simon, dies. And all four of them have motive. And so therefore, they're all suspects. And this book was just so much fun to read. It was so much fun. 5 out of 5. It was so addicting. And there's going to be a TV show on Peacock. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm super excited for it. I love the setting. I love the characters. I love the mystery. It just brought me back to like the old young adult high school drama. I highly recommend One of Us is Lying. And it is kind of a big book, but it's a beautiful book. The last book that I read in May is One of Us is Next by Karen M. McManus, which is the sequel follow-up to One of Us is Lying. And so this one we follow a new set of characters. We follow Phoebe, Maeve, and Knox. And I did not like this one as much as One of Us is Lying. I gave this one a 3.75 out of 5. And it's not that this book is terrible. It's not. It's actually really fun to read. But I just didn't connect to any of the characters. Maybe Knox. I don't know, I just didn't find this one as thrilling or engaging as One of Us is Lying. But I'm glad I read it. Now I cannot wait for One of Us is Back. Even though I didn't like this one, I really recommend it. I think Karen M. McManus may be my new contemporary YA author. I have Two Can Keep a Secret over there. The Cousin's up there. And then she has a new one called You'll Be the Death of Me that's coming out, I think, this year. Then we get into June, the last month I'm going to talk about. I started Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy back in March. I finished it in June. This is obviously Simon Lewis's backstory on how he became a Shadowhunter, because he went from mundane to vampire, back to mundane to being a Shadowhunter. This is a 5 out of 5. My favorite story may be Born to Endless Night. I just love that story so much. I think that I do recommend you read this or listen to it before reading The Dark Artifices if you are planning on it, just because it'll spoil some stuff from this collection in Dark Artifices. I definitely got spoiled. I should have read this before I read, Dark Artifices. I feel like this is the year of Shadowhunter novels for me because I read Red Scrolls and Magic by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu, the first book of the Eldest Curses. And this one follows Magnus, Thane, and Alec Lightwood on their trip in Europe during City of Fallen Angels. And this is actually one of the first novels in my history of reading where I did not have a rating for it. Because on one hand, it's not terrible. On the other hand, it's not terrific for me. I mean, I was never a Malik shipper. I mean, I do love Malik, but I was never like one of those people that would be like, I need to ship Malik at all times. However, Malik was one of the saving graces of Shadowhunters, the television series. I love how Alec takes care of Magnus and Magnus takes care of him. I just love that. I love Magnus Bane. I don't love Alec Lightwood, mainly because I never really connected to him. I never really connected to him until maybe like Dark Artifices. But in this one, I just didn't. So basically, the plot, real quick. This is a story of Magnus, and years ago he started a cult as a joke called the Crimson Hand, and now the cult has come back, and now whatever, they're trying to stop it. And apparently this trilogy takes place all across the world. Like, this one takes place in Europe, the next one takes place in Shanghai, and then I don't know where the third one takes place. And this is the first Shadowhunter series where Cassandra Clare is writing with someone else. And I've nothing against Wesley Chu. Seriously, nothing against him. And I understand Cassandra Clare wanted a person of Asian descent to help write an authentic backstory for Magnus Bane, because Magnus is of that race. That's her reasoning. I feel like she could have written this book just by herself. The writing, I couldn't see Wesley Chu's writing. All I saw was Cassandra Clare's. I don't know if that was the point, but I didn't see anything about Wesley Chu. And I understand that writing two authors collaborating on a book, their writing has to become one, and I understand that. I don't know. You know what I mean? So I will read the rest of that series, but I'm not excited for it unfortunately, and I'm really upset about it. The last one that I read, Warcross by Marie Lu. This is her debut. Whoa. This is her second series. Nope. This is her third series. And this one follows Mika Chen. She is a teenage bounty hunter hacker, and there's this game called Warcross. She hacks herself into Warcross, and instead of being arrested, she gets the opportunity of a lifetime. And I gave this one a 4 out of 5. Love how fast-paced her novels are. I like the Warcross concept. I think the concept is kind of cool. Anything with like a virtual reality Ready Player One kind of thing, I'm down for. I love this book. I'm currently reading Wildcard, and after I get done with this series and I get done with Trials of Apollo, or whatever, I will read Sky Hunter, and of course I'll finish the Young Elites. But I'm really invested in this world right now, so I'm really excited to see where it's going to go. So this one's a 4 out of 5. So those are all the books that I've read so far. This was my mid-year wrap-up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know what books you've read so far, and how many have you read. Right now, I'm behind on my reading goal. I think I set it for 50, hoping I can get so much more done. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a big thumbs up, comment down below your thoughts of these books, and do you have a favorite book so far of this year? Right now, my top are Lord of Shadows, Hidden Oracle, One of Us is Lying, and Crooked Kingdom. But yeah, so I'm really excited to see what else I'm going to be reading. Like I said, big thumbs up, comment down below your thoughts, and for more content, the subscribe button is right over here. Right next to it is the notification bell, so go ahead and click that, and I will see everyone soon in my next video. Deuces.